tupate tumekuwa tukijiongelesha
Uh,
and we lie.
Live episode number 59. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so we're about to hit
Send me,
60.
send me, please send me this link. There's somebody wanted to join in. There's a new fan who said they want to see what we do concerning WhatsApp. So you are working. You said who was Ministry of what?
So no, what happened was Ministry of Finance, not finance, Foreign Affairs,
Hmm. Okay.
and this Ministry of nimekutumia. Ministry of Foreign
Yeah.
Affairs wanaorganize
Yeah.
this thing they call mobile consular services.
Okay.
So they go to different countries where there's a sort of a Kenyan diaspora community,
Hmm.
and facilitate these services. Although Rwanda in and of itself is registered as a passport processing center, so I can actually register to either get a new passport or renew my passport from Rwanda, and they will facilitate that entire process for me. So as in, I'll deliver the documents and they'll then ship them to Kenya. Of course, I'll do the e-citizen process, the online process, and then submit my paperwork at the embassy, and then the embassy will do the rest. And then once the passport is ready, it will get delivered to them, and then they'll call me, and then I'll go pick it up. So, but this was even much more elaborate. So they'll do all that. They'll do the passports. They will even do other services that you cannot do from here, like applying for a replacement of an ID card, or applying for the new generation. I didn't know. I saw people. There were people that had all the time. I didn't know passports. People have to go and get a second and a third generation. I thought once I get, rather not passport, but the ID card.
There's a third generation ID.
Me, I've been using the one that I got since what, the early 2000s, when I finished high school.
No,
So I'm
that's
like,
old. Mine is for 2014.
you have the earlier one. Me, I was still using that one. I was
You,
still using. I
you
mean, the
what,
only
which one
reason
is
I
yours?
went
Which one was 20?
ni ya kitambo, ni ile iko laminated.
Mine
It's
is for
not any of
2014. It looks like a small card.
Yes, so mine is not the first. You remember the initial ones that we used to have?
Yeah, that looks like a very kuna kama imepigwa na lamination machine.
Ni kama imepigwa na lamination machine.
That's
So
what
I
we're
still
using.
had that. I was using that constantly. I mean, it worked. I mean, for an ID card, I don't think I need
By
to
the way,
change it.
there's something I've always tried to understand. When, let's say, you are sort of renewing your documents and whatnot, why do we have to fill these things yet they have our data? Because
Good
my
question.
thinking, if a system
The
works
same question.
properly, you get a notification that your document is expiring. Log into
Yeah.
eCitizen, you say renewal, just one click, pay the fee, wait for collection. So the guys at the back end will just see, we have his data, he has made his payment.
We've
We are good.
digitized a lot of Kenyan data now. Things like
Yeah.
your ID card are digitized. That's why you're able to log into some services just using your ID number. So
Hmm.
all these things have been digitized. So the record is there.
So
The
why
record
filling
is there.
forms again? In fact, the business I find form filling to be it's really, really also now that most of the data is sort of centralized. I find it very 1980s or 90s, something like that.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, just think about it. The other day I was also filling out what this thing they call police clearance form. And
or
part of the
certificate of good
process,
conduct.
yeah, the certificate of good conduct. Part of the process is you have to do fingerprinting so that they see if you have any, criminal record, anything pending in the courts and things like that. And I had already done the first one. The first one that I ever did was in 2021. when I just moved to Rwanda, mid 2021. And I remember this time round again, filling it again, I had to do the same process. And I'm like,
There's no
you should have.
e-citizen, I found, or e-citizen.
No. E-Citizen Eco.
Hmm.
I'm not. I'm not refuting. Even that other time, I went through e-Citizen. Not that sick went through e-Citizen. All these processes now, most of the government services have been digitized, so you have to apply them through e-Citizen. But what I'm saying is, you have to do that whole process like you're doing it afresh. So this being my second time, I had to go into e-Citizen, fill out the forms once again, and then get another set of fingerprints. So, but the good thing is they have some kind of DCI Kenya and the equivalent here as an arrangement. So I can actually get fingerprints here, bundle them together with my forms, hand them over to the embassy, and the embassy will then submit it to Kenya, send it to DCI, and DCI will do their work. And then they'll send me a text message saying that the certificate is ready. I can download from eCitizen. So, but the point is just what you've said. I don't mind when I need to request. So again, things like police clearance, I do understand the need to apply them every so often. That certificate can only last for so long because who knows between the
In
time that you
between,
first apply,
normally,
you are
is it 6 months
done.
or how long? How long should it last?
Yeah, maybe either 3 or 6 months. I'm not sure. I need to relook at it again.
Because
But and
whenever they ask for one, they say it should not be
yeah,
more than 3 months old.
exactly.
Mm.
So the point is, my fingerprints will never change. I'm the same person. So the point is to just run. I don't mind having to apply for the service again and pay the fee to facilitate, the check-in and the work that
Mm.
they need to do. But the point of me filling out the form again
Mm.
and doing the same old, if you think of even passport, those old things you're asked, give your mother, father ID, give your all these things. You ask the same things even when you're doing a renewal. I'm on my, I think, old passport. I'm still being asked the same questions that I filled when I did my first passport.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah, that's
this is my second passport, and I remember so that means if you need to keep copies of your parents' ID
I
to come as a
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great,
I mean, just to send
completely
you a
great.
copy, please. You can always incorporate, of course. And then there's a place where they have a recommender, like somebody who's a witness to sign for you. I mean, it's a very archaic system. I think we digitized, but still maintained the mindset of the manual process without
I hope
realizing what
I,
digitization facilitates.
the, my current one is expiring, I think, in 2028. 4
Mhm.
years. I hope by 2028 things would have changed. Uh,
Mine is expiring 2026, but I'm getting the new generation one because the
the
last
light
time I
blue
was
one.
home, the light blue one. So
Uh,
the last time when I was home, they told me, "Oh, this thing is dead." I had to even fill out the temporary permit to allow me now to fly back to Rwanda.
Mine, I replaced it in
Yeah,
2018. I had the navy blue
yeah,
one. I had
yeah,
the old one, but I just
yeah.
did my due diligence, replaced it in 20. In fact, it was so wonderful. I went to, I think it was the e-citizen, made the application, then you select a date and time when you are going to take your documents. So when you
Yes,
go there, they expect you at this time. So they'll ask you, what was your time? Mine was, I think, 11:30. Then
yeah.
you are given a number. A number is called out. Within half an hour, I'd taken pictures and what. Then within 5 days, the passport was ready.
No hongo, no nothing.
Nothing. And somebody was
You know,
threatening, was telling, oh, you need 10K, 5 days. Boom, they called me, I get a message, passport ready. please select the time when you want to go and pick it. I selected 9 9:30. Asharif Mustafa, karibu sana. I selected 9:30. I was there by 8:30. By 9:30, someone, okay, we are calling out names for the 9:30 team. My name is Brian B. Maramoja. So they take the old one, they punch it. You're given the
Yeah,
new
yeah,
one.
yeah. So yeah, the point is, I mean, one thing I was actually commenting about the exercise, it had a bit of some bit of chaos in the organization process, but overall, it's great to have this mobile consular services. I was actually sharing with another friend that, as I told a colleague at work who is a Ugandan, that this weekend I'll be participating in that exercise because I needed one to apply for that new passport, and then two, because I'd already lost that old ID of mine to get a new ID. Now that reminds me, I'd requested the local DCI office of Rwanda, the DCI equivalent, they call it actually RIB, to get me a police abstract, and I haven't picked it up, so I need to plan to go pick it up. So, but anyway, point being, it's great. I mean, I could see that customer centric approach and spirit in just how those government officials really handled us. They, we were very demanding over people, and people were really crowding over them. It can get quite frustrating, but they still maintained their cool. They were very helpful, and they assisted us all throughout that process. So, one, to organize that exercise, and I think they do it every so often, maybe once or twice in a year, in a particular country or so. Actually, from here, they were going to go to Uganda. I don't know where next they were going to do, but bringing these services closer to Kenyans, to diaspora, is a great thing. And then later on, they even invited us for dinner. Actually, even now, the VP is the country is come for the genocide commemoration. And it's actually the reason why I have to leave early is I have to rush to head out for that. So yeah. So anyway, I think overall, I think sometimes as Kenyans we do bash our government so much, but there is progress
things
that
they
has
did
been
well, like that thing of my passport.
not just
It
in
was
5 days or something. There's no
5 days,
corruption.
nothing.
Yeah.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Not all
I will
doom
not
and
rate us as a banana republic.
gloom.
At least we have a system that can be worked on, as opposed to not having a system at all. So let us
Yeah.
not be what we call prophets of doom, always
Yeah.
expecting the worst out of people. So it was a very exciting. The other week for me was very exciting. We did a second test for the bike. This time, these guys were at Outer Ring Road. We had work on the lighting system, and we had a passenger now. And the system, the local borders could not keep up,
Did
and
you
it was.
record it?
I don't know. I didn't record. I was just operating feedback from my team because we did a first test. It's called a shakedown. Shakedown is where you've assembled something together, and you just want to see if things are working. Any any
Yeah.
any machine must undergo a shakedown, because a shakedown you go slow, because you can't do a fast shakedown because things can tumble out of place. So a shakedown is normally done slowly with the rider only. Then we realized our lighting system had fallen short. We sorted. Then the best way to test your lighting system is to ride it at night. Night ride around Outer Ring Road. Iko fully low. He has a passenger at the back, and is doing uphill at 80 kilometers per hour. 80
Wow.
kph.
It's powerful, eh? Congratulations. I mean, this is a major milestone. You guys now sort of
Major, because the previous iteration was weak. That bike was weak, and it was as a result of elements of dishonesty. But then again, I normally say that dishonesty is like me paying school fees for getting into the industry. And it's
Mhm.
part of what we call the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is where you're getting into something for the first time. You feel like, hey, you are the odd one out.
Am
So
I
this
qualified
unit,
for it? Do I have it?
uh,
Yeah, all that.
we are doing 8 kph. In fact, the guy was keeping up with the vehicles now easily. So magical. So what we are doing today is just to bleed out the brakes because we put in some brake fluid that he had at his store. He said, okay, maybe it's all the brake. Let's just buy a new container for brake fluid, bleed out the old stock, put in the new one. Then what is left is aesthetics. uh, we have a design, a casing, because majority of electric bikes, the ones that are in Kenya, the battery is outside, it's exposed. Apart from this Indian motorbike called Creeding. Creeding is the only one that it has a casing. I guess it's from India. The rest are Chinese, mostly cheap Chinese things that the battery is exposed. The most common one is ampersand. In fact, ampersand originated in Rwanda with their yellow colored battery, and
Yeah, yeah.
we have Rome. Rome have a
The case
the
is you can open it and then pull out the battery
yes,
for charging.
and our batteries. In fact, our when we come up when we set up our battery swap station, we'll need there's something called an electric stacker. A stacker is like a forklift, but you simply push it so that if the maybe the particular battery you want is high, because our battery is really heavy. Our battery
Mhm.
weighs 50 kilograms, because that is what we need to, because our unit can run more than 100 kilometers by our calculations. So when you want something that can run long at the current level of battery technology, we just need something heavier. But then again, beyond battery, beyond the motorbike and maybe a three wheeler, we simply want to go to hybrids. Specifically a series hybrid, that will be the best option because it's simply a generator connected to a motor on the axle. So you can
Mm.
anybody, Moyale, Mandera, Lamu, Wajir,
So there will be no limitation, and it seems
no
like that's
limitation.
a magic touch even for vehicles because I'm seeing quite a bit of backlash on EVs. It seems like the middle ground is being able to, you know,
See,
make use of the electricity availability and also being able to use a
the
fuel.
EV issue, it's
Mm,
being approached like they are looking at it like a fad. The approach is not so serious because for us,
mm,
for the electric bikes, we're not even targeting border borders. We want to make a
mhm,
very nice electric motorbike that you just want to operate for fun and just feel nice.
mhm,
Then the three-wheel taxi, now that will be a commercial vehicle tailor-made for towns. And based on that battery swap network, we are going to make it so nice that it will work like an Uber. So Ubers, these are mostly urban-based motoring units, and
mhm,
if it is backed up by an elaborate network of battery swap centers, it's good to go. Then, if we are to build medium-sized electric vehicles, those will be what I call range-tailored vehicles. Like you are building a medium-sized electric van for Coca-Cola. We know these companies have fleet managers. They'll tell you on average, this vehicle normally covers this mileage per day. So if the daily mileage for that small distribution truck is 200 kilometers, we give you a vehicle the range of 350. And since you are in a factory that has power supply, we simply give you a charging unit that is integrated in the factory's power supply. So these are vehicles that are it may be a common platform, but then what matters is the batteries. This one needs more batteries. Company A needs this number of batteries. So these are vehicles that are mostly built on order. But other than that, we prefer to go hybrids, even for matatus, whatnot, hybrid, because for a country like ours, where are you going to place these swap centers? Already,
Sure.
a swap center, setting up of a battery swap center is linked to urban planning. Our urban
Mm,
planning is already a headache. Look at the flooding that we had recently. So those are the
yes.
things we want to. So those are things that are limiting us. So rather play safe with these small things like motorbikes and three wheelers. Then for any vehicle that is slightly bigger and you want to make it electric, tailor it to a certain organization. If it is a bakery, they know that per day that vehicle will cover 100 kilometers. Give him one for 250 and is
Mm,
specifically tailored for them. So at least you are limiting, because with EVs there's no one size fits all. Because that's why I'm very much against personal EVs. Me and you may be
mm,
having personal EVs, but your coverage and mine are completely different. You may be an 8 to 5 person, and I'm a field work person. You may be operating between town, Utawala, then you may drive to Machakos over the weekend. And me, I have to drive to Nakuru on the daily. Where am I going to? How does this thing work? So that's why I normally say let us avoid copy pasting some of this. Let's have people who look at our problem, look at our situation, and see, okay, what suits us. Not just picking something higher plug 20 cars. Yes, okay, now me and you have EVs and we happen to stay in flats. How does the charging take? Do I have to drive to another place and wait for half an hour? What if you get there, we have like 10 charging stations, all of them are occupied, each one is taking half an hour. So you have to park there minimum 1 hour. And you have had a long day at work. How does this work? Not everyone has a compound. If you have a compound, sawa, you can have the charging system in your compound. That how many people you may say Utawala, Don Home, Wapi at the river. How many people have compounds? So if you have like 15
Yeah,
of us,
I think that's a bigger lesson. I think you because you guys are already building it
hmm,
with factoring our environment, how we
hmm,
operate, the existing infrastructure, and even when it's anticipated to grow. I think
hmm,
bringing in, I saw another company is gonna be selling Teslas here in Rwanda, and I
hmm,
was like, wow, how practical is that? Um, we do have some good amount of charging within the city. Outside the city, I think they're a bit more sparse. It could only probably be a city car that you use between your home and office, um, and taking advantage of the charging facilities that are there. You could set up your own in your house and in your office, but all the same, I even wonder how the after sales service is in terms of spare parts and the expertise to maintain it. So all these things, that entire ecosystem needs to be in place for it to work. I think that's why you are even giving the example of Toyotas, and why Toyotas or other manufacturers who happen to sell in Africa probably don't have to pay attention to certain key things. They know in Africa just wapatie ikiwa tu hivyo, wao watajua
kama
at the very most.
inanguruma in Africa,
That's
as
it.
long as inanguruma, kaende kaende. And
Kaende
now
kaende.
and for a personal EV, where is the convenience now? Because the car is supposed to be a source of convenience. Why should I like drive like an extra kilometer somewhere to go plug my vehicle there, then I have to walk back? The convenience sort of reduces. That's why for an EV, if it is like something that is owned by individuals, let's say like that those motorbikes and the three-wheel taxis, let's work on battery swap. But the issue with the battery swap, you can only have a battery swap to a certain limited location, because the battery swap means you have a number of batteries inside there, that station. How many batteries are you going to buy to make the business sustainable? So these are
Yeah.
things you want to limit within the urban areas in preparation for something else, as you sort of, as the company takes builds some clout, then the next big thing will be the hybrids, like the Nissan X-Trail 2023. That is a series hybrid. It's actually a generator with the two motors, 2 or 4 motors on the wheels. So it gives you the power of an EV, because that power, instead of coming from a battery, it comes from a generator. And I tend to think that some of these things is purely political, because we also have a device called TEG, thermoelectric generator. Is a device that generates heat from electricity. And they used to be there. They were called automotive thermoelectric generator. So engine heat would be used to generate electricity to assist in running that hybrid. Now, the funny thing is, this thing was invented in 1821, but for some reason, R&D on it has literally slowed down to snail pace. So, if I'm to sort of become temporarily become what we call a conspiracy theorist, they say that these fossil fuels, they are dangerous to Mother Earth, sindio? But they
Yes.
are off the earth. How can they be
No, and
dangerous to
that's what I always wonder. I mean,
off
there's
the
also
earth?
there's also that idea of you've heard of that concept of one of the reasons why we have high CO2 emission is because of cows farting. So by extension, they were even saying, people who are meat eaters are contributing to climate change. This who
Because
doesn't.
these fossil fuels, they are off the earth. So is the
Science.
earth destroying itself? My take is either the refining process for the fossil fuel is done poorly, or we are intentionally building vehicles which are not efficient. Because currently, the most thermally efficient vehicle in the world is the Formula One engine, which they have only achieved 50% thermal efficiency. The rest of us, mere motors, are playing at 20 to 30% thermal efficiency. That heat from the engine is not recovered in any way. And we already had a automotive thermal electric generator that was discovered was made in 1821. In 1821, this thing was. How come no one made any move? There are two vehicles, I think, a BMW and Volvo. They tried, but the R&D, I think, has been what do I call it? Intentionally slowed down, because you're telling me fossil fuel are are bad for the earth, but they come from the earth. Sasa tutasaidiana vipi? So
I mean, I mean, there's an element where I think some of these things have been hijacked, sort of the
yeah,
science, and that's where you find, even if you go into that whole climate change issue, there are like two schools of thought, and these are very established personalities in the science community that seem to contest sort of the prevalent narrative around climate change. And I think the problem has been, it seems like most of these voices or counter sort of information is being silenced. And I think we need to hear it all. I mean, if anything, that what science has told us, just be open minded. Science evolve. We all evolve. Probably what we thought was true today, based on the information that we have, will be invalidated in the next coming years as we acquire more information, as we gain more experience, as we engage with the world. So science is all about questioning. Science is all about being open-minded, is learning that there's an evolution that has to happen. So we should allow these voices, at least at this point where this thing is in some sense highly contentious, saying it's already agreed upon, and just the whole community, the whole academia community, the way now it's constructed, you have this, they call them peer review forms, and these are just people that are sort of like fan clubs sometimes that are just agreeing with sort of the respected expert or head. So to appear to oppose him seems like to go against the grain, and maybe that's what needs to happen.
Mm. So to give my, we call it a closing submission now,
Yeah,
to so that you are able to depart on time. There's a
yeah.
certain concept I've been hearing for quite a. It's a Japanese concept called kintsugi. The word
Mm-hmm.
kintsugi means joined by gold. In Japan, they have what we call tea taking ceremony. So they use teapots. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
kintsugi concept or the culture states that when a pot is broken, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is that they use a certain liquid or a lacquer. It is made of gold. It's a golden liquid that they use to repair these broken pots, such that a pot that has been broken and then repaired under the kintsugi concept looks more beautiful because the joints have been put together using that gold. It has some golden patterns based on the breakage. So under the kintsugi concept means that you have to be broken down. You have to go through
Mm-hmm.
hardship for a value to go up. It's called the
Mm.
kintsugi concept. So Lute family, karibu sana. We are having a short show today, so ni kama unafika sherehe na chakula imeisha, utakunywa supu tu afu utajulia mbele mbele. So under the
Uh,
kintsugi concept, it really tells a lot that it's hard, it's important as a man that you go through some of these hardships. They form you, they shape you, those battle scars. So that's why a pot has undergone that kintsugi, it looks beautiful because it has golden, but it's actually pure gold that makes that lacquer for joining the pieces. So when they look at a pot that has golden patterns, they know, this is an old pot. It has served for a while. It broke down. It got put together. So it gives us more appreciation of hardships. We don't crumble. We sort even if we crumble, we patch ourselves together, and we come back with a renewed value. So in the spirit of respecting time, we can say appreciation to our guest today, our lone wolf Sharif Mustafa. Asante sana Lute family. Huu umekuja utapata harufu tu, or kama kuna mfupa imebaki hapo, or I don't know, utarambaramba
Remember, any crumbs
utaramba
left?
kifuniko ya soda. Kulikuwa na mchongwano huko Mombasa, ati
Uh,
some guy ana pesa, so anaenda bar, utarambaramba vifuniko vya soda paka vifuniko vya bia paka leo. So so you just have to do with a few you have to lick a few bottle tops here and ramba ramba soup up, and then hope that next time you'll land. But I think next time we'll have a 1 hour show, hopefully. So,
we should have, inshallah. Yeah, I believe I'll have
okay. So,
enough.
with that, can I say adios? Adios.
See ya. Thank you, guys.